Today we're going to quickly show you how to use and navigate the Cork Graveyards Database, which includes nearly 100,000 burial register records from over 140 graveyards across County Cork. And all of these records are available to search for free. Several of the graveyards featured in the database have also been surveyed. The database was created by Skibbereen Heritage Centre, so we'll go straight over it to the Skibbereen Heritage Centre website. And under Skibbereen Heritage Centre here, you can actually see that the top link at the moment is Cork Graveyards Database. Now you can click on that and go directly to the database, but we'll just go to the homepage first. And from the homepage, we'll navigate to Graveyards and Graveyards Database. Now this page provides a general overview of the project. You'll see lots of information here and various different links so you can learn about the project. So just to explain a little bit more about the Cork Graveyards Database, it's a wonderful resource created by these fantastic staff and volunteers at Skibbereen Heritage Centre who have transcribed a total of 97,923 burial register records to date. So these registers have been shared with them by Cork County Council, who manage these graveyards, and they also operate the Heritage Centre. The volunteers have contributed thousands of hours to this ongoing project, and there are more records expected to be released next year in spring 2026. So it really is well worth spending some time exploring the database because it contains a wealth of genealogical data that both predates and postdates the Irish civil records available online. Now, if you want to search the database straight away, just go to the database search page up here. But first, I'd advise scrolling down and taking a look at this very useful interactive map. So if we just zoom out a little bit, we can see 143 graveyards that are included in the project. And each graveyard, as you can see, is marked with a cross. So if we click on one of the crosses, we get some information about the graveyard. So here we have Abbey's Well or Kilgubnet, and we can see some information. And then down the bottom here we can see some very important information. It says that the burial register for this graveyard covers the period 1757 to 2006. Now that's actually very important information to know before we start our search. It also says that the headstones in the graveyard have been surveyed. So we know that this particular graveyard has additional information that other graveyards don't necessarily have. Now some of the registers, they cover a shorter period in time. So for example here 1959 to 1995 for Inchigeelagh. So let's begin our search, and the easiest way to do that is to scroll back up and go to the database search page. So that brings up the general search page. Now obviously you can start your search by entering in the fields, first name, last name, death year, and there's +1, 2, 5 or 10 years. But let's say you have a number of ancestors buried in a particular graveyard and you just want to take a general look at the burial records for a particular graveyard. Then you click on Graveyard All and you see the full list of 143 Cork graveyards. Now some of them just have burial register records, some of them just have graveyard survey records, and some have a combination of both. So just for an example, we're going to scroll down to St. Lacteen's graveyard and click search to do a general search. So we can see here it's quite a big graveyard. There's 3,034 burial records. And you can scroll down and they are listed alphabetically according to surname. So basically you can scroll down and see if any of the names jump out at you and then click view. So we're going to take just one example here. We will take Dennis Ahern, who died in 1904, click view. And it brings up his transcribed burial register record. So we can see the deceased name, his address, Spring Lane, Cork, his death date and his burial date. Now sometimes the other fields are also contain information, so there might be his age of death, his occupation. The informant can be very important because it's oftentimes a close relative. The section or marker tells you where in the graveyard the grave is located. So it might be just a general location like west side or south side, or it can be very specific and give the row and the plot number. Now, very often all this additional information is actually included in the original burial register record. It just hasn't been transcribed here. So now this next step is very important. To find this additional information, we have to click on View Register, and we're taken to the actual register page. Now we can download that as a PDF by clicking download here, or we can screen capture it to save it as a JPEG. So let's take a look for Dennis Ahern, and we can see he's here. So if we just zoom in, we can see that he was age 33 at death. He was RC, Roman Catholic. He worked as a labourer. He was married. That's his address again. We scroll over here and we can see John Ahern was the informant. So that's likely a close relation. And there's also an observations field here. Now, sometimes you also get the cause of death recorded, but not in this case. So let's just return to the search. And let's say you had other Ahern relations buried in this graveyard. So you want to search more, just click next result, and we can go through more of the Aherns, and it'll keep going like that until we reach the next name, which there's obviously a lot of. Oh, here we have the Ambroses. So we'll now do another search. So we'll click search to go back to the general search page. And this time we'll look at a graveyard that has had a graveyard survey done. So we'll go to all, and I know that Ballymoden, Old Graveyard in Bandon, was surveyed. And this time we're going to look for a particular person from this graveyard. So we're going to search for William Burke. Now we'll just put in his surname, as oftentimes it's better to keep it fairly general. And we'll click this little guy here, use sounds like, because Burke, like many surnames in Ireland, has various spellings. So it could also be spelt Bourke. And of course, there's no guarantee, just like any other genealogy record in Ireland, that it'll be recorded the way the person spelt it themselves or the later generations spelt the surname. So we'll click search. And we can see here that it brings up 4 different Burkes buried in this graveyard. And we can see William Burke here, 1898. Click view. We get the same kind of information again, his name, death date and burial date. Click view register. Now this time we're brought not to the register, but to information that was taken down during a graveyard survey. So with a graveyard survey, usually you'll get the transcription of the inscription that appeared on the grave marker. Now that is assuming that the grave was marked with a grave marker. Sometimes people have come forward with information about their family's graves that were unmarked, and that information has also been logged in these graveyard surveys. So here we have the transcription of the inscription on William Burke's grave. So it gives information about William Burke and other family members, his wife and his children. Now oftentimes with the graveyard survey you also get a photograph of the headstone or a drawing of the headstone. Not so in the case of William Burke, but over here we have a monument dedicated to Private D. Chambers of the Royal Munster Fusiliers. So we'll just go back to the search again and we'll do a new search. Now we'll look for another graveyard that's had a survey done. This time we'll go to Affadown Lower Graveyard and we'll do a general search again. Click search. 149 records in the graveyard survey. And this time we'll pick another one at random, Michael Beecher, who died in 1916. Click view. And again, we can see the transcription of the inscription of the grave marker. And we can see a photo of the Beecher grave marker. Now, if you place the mouse over the image, it's supposed to magnify it. It's not actually working for me in this case, but it might work for you. Another really nice feature with a lot of the graveyard surveys that are featured in this database is that you can view the plot location. Now, it'll generally just give you a general kind of idea of where it is within the graveyard. So click here, and you can see in this case, the Beecher grave is within the church. So we'll go back to search. Now this time, let's say we have a particular person. We'll say Patrick Shine, and we know that Patrick Shine died in County Cork in 1869, but we're not sure exactly where he was buried. So we're going to do a kind of a general search again. We're going to put in his surname. We're just going to click search. And it brings up 76 burial records. So we'll scroll down to P alphabetically. And here we have 2 Patrick Shines, and here we have our guy in 1869. And we can click view. Now, admittedly, this method works particularly well if the name is a bit more unusual, like Shine. But if you're searching for common surnames like McCarthy and Murphy, you might want to add more search fields to narrow it down, or you could be sifting through thousands of records. So I hope this little video has been helpful, and if it has, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to follow us for more Irish genealogy updates and guides.